Hey there, good to see you. Today we're talking about something that affects over 60 million Americans right now, and pretty much all of us eventually, Social Security. There's a brand new plan in Congress that could reshape how it's funded, how it works, and even how you access your benefits. And it's not just about checks going out on time. It's about whether you'll be able to reach someone when something goes wrong, whether your local office will still be open next year, and whether the whole system can keep up with the promises it's made for generations. Now here's something you might not know. If nothing changes, benefits could be cut automatically in less than a decade. But this new bill is trying to stop that. The problem is, the plan is already facing some major pushback. And what happens next could affect not just your retirement, but your ability to access help when you need it most. So stick around, because the next few minutes could really open your eyes to what's going on and what might be coming. Also, before we jump in, let me ask you something. Have you or someone you know ever had trouble getting through to Social Security? Maybe you waited on hold forever or couldn't get help at your local office. Let me know in the comments. I read everyone. And if this kind of calm, real talk helps you make sense of things, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything coming up. So this new plan is called the Keep Billionaires Out of Social Security Act. It was introduced by Senator Chuck Schumer, and the timing isn't random. Across the country, folks have been frustrated. Offices are closing, phone lines are jammed, websites crash, and when you do finally reach someone, they're so understaffed it feels like they can't really help. Schumer actually unveiled the bill while standing in front of a room full of seniors and Social Security staff at a community center in upstate New York. Behind him were signs that said, "Protect Social Security." And honestly, that's kind of what this is all about, protecting a system that millions rely on as their main source of income, and sometimes their only one. You see, the Social Security Administration has been struggling big time. Some of it has to do with funding, but a lot of it comes down to staffing cuts and administrative changes that go back to the creation of an agency called DOGE, which stands for Department of Government Efficiency. It was launched to reduce costs across government programs, including Social Security. The thing is, when you hear efficiency, it might sound good, right? Who doesn't want government to be more efficient? But here's where it gets tricky. In practice, what it meant for SSA was thousands of job cuts, fewer people at call centers, and even field offices being listed for closure. One in New York was nearly shut down before the community stepped in a fight for it. And others, like in Binghamton, saw workers walking out because they couldn't do their jobs under the new conditions. And that brings us back to this bill. Schumer's proposing 4 big changes. First, no more closing local offices without Congress stepping in. After all, field offices are where people go when they need help fast, like fixing a benefits error or applying for disability in person. The bill wants to make sure those doors stay open. Next, it pushes for hiring. Not just a few people, but a real investment to rebuild the workforce, so people can actually get help from a real person, not just an automated system that says, "We're experiencing high call volume," and then hangs up on you. And now here's where it gets even more interesting. The bill would also put $5 billion a year into updating the tech behind the scenes. That means better websites, faster processing, fewer mistakes, and stronger cybersecurity to protect your data. And in today's world, where everything's digital, that's a big deal. After all, you don't want your Social Security number floating around because of some outdated server. The third piece focuses on protecting people who use the system, especially when mistakes happen. Right now, if Social Security sends you too much money by accident, they can ask for it back, even if it was their fault. This bill aims to scale back that kind of harsh clawback and make sure you're not punished for things outside your control. And finally, the bill cracks down on data misuse. It actually creates civil and criminal penalties for anyone who tampers with or abuses Social Security data. It's basically a big hands-off to anyone trying to interfere, including DOGE and other administrative groups. But here's where things start to heat up. Not everyone is on board. Some Trump-era officials have been floating ideas about privatizing Social Security or parts of it. The argument is that private systems can run leaner, more efficiently. But critics say that's dangerous territory. One official even joked that if his mom didn't get her check, she wouldn't complain. And that kind of comment has really rubbed people the wrong way. It's tone deaf, especially for folks who depend on these payments just to get by. And you know what's weird? Even though most Americans say they support Social Security, the program has been kind of neglected. It's like a car that everyone depends on, but no one wants to pay to maintain. And now it's breaking down. You see, there's been a 50-year staffing low at the SSA. That's not a typo. 50 years. And in places like Syracuse, New York, the few remaining workers are stretched way too thin. It has been said that over 200,000 seniors in just one part of the state are trying to share $330 million in monthly benefits. But there aren't enough people to keep the system running smoothly. So then the question becomes, why hasn't Congress already fixed this? Well, some say it's politics. Others say it's budget limits. But it's probably a little of both. Schumer's bill is meant to start a serious conversation. It's not just about reversing cuts. It's about making a long-term investment in a system that millions depend on. And even though it sounds like common sense, the bill's path forward is rough. As one analyst put it, unless Republicans can be convinced that this was their idea all along, it's unlikely to pass. Now, that might sound a little cynical, but it's kind of how Congress works sometimes. Still, there's a lot of public support. And honestly, that matters. When people show up, when communities push back against office closures, when voices are raised, it moves the needle. Remember that field office I mentioned earlier that was almost shut down? Well, it stayed open because people fought for it. So what does all this mean for you? If you're already collecting Social Security, it could mean fewer delays, fewer headaches, and less fear that your local office will close. If you're not yet collecting, it's about making sure the system is still there when you need it. And even if you're decades away, this is your paycheck we're talking about. Social Security is funded by your payroll taxes. You're paying into it right now. Also, if you've ever tried calling Social Security and sat through hours of whole music just to get disconnected, yeah, this bill's meant to fix that too. And what I'll show you next might surprise you. Despite all this attention, Social Security's biggest challenge hasn't gone away. The trust fund is still projected to run short by 2033. That's when automatic cuts kick in unless Congress does something more permanent. So while this bill is a big step, it's not the full fix. Long-term, lawmakers may need to raise the payroll tax cap or find new revenue sources. Some say billionaires should pay more into the system. Others worry about overtaxing high earners. There's no easy answer, but doing nothing means everyone takes a 23% cut when the trust fund runs dry. And yeah, people are worried. Rightfully so. But one thing that's been easy to forget in all the headlines, Social Security works. It's one of the most effective anti-poverty programs in American history. It keeps people afloat. It gives dignity to retirement. And even with all the problems, it still sends out over $1 trillion in benefits every year. That's no small thing. So let's not lose sight of the bigger picture. Whether you agree with Schumer's plan or not, the debate is happening. And being informed means being part of that conversation. Let me know in the comments what you think. Is Congress doing enough to protect Social Security? Or do you feel like the system's being left behind? And hey, if this helped you understand what's going on just a little better, consider subscribing for more calm, real talk on money, retirement, and everything in between. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you next time.